If you're thinking about getting pregnant and wonder if you should be doing anything special, or if you just started trying but it's taking a bit longer than you'd like, this video is for you. Welcome back to Fertility TV. If you're new here, hi, I'm Dr. Marc Sklar, also known as the fertility expert, and I've been helping couples get pregnant for the last 21 years. Today, we're diving into a super important topic. What should you do before you get pregnant? So if you're ready to start your journey to motherhood, you've come to the right place. Before we get started with today's episode, I created this free guide called the 7 Steps to Empower Your Fertility. A free guide where you get a fertility approved shopping list and many more tips that I'm sure you're going to find super useful. I'm going to leave the link in the description below so you can download it for free. All right, so I'm going to divide this video into 5 sections, 5 parts. The first one is understanding your cycle. That's right. We can't move forward with fertility if we don't understand what our body's telling us, if we don't understand what your menstruation is telling us and how to interpret it and how to use that for good to make better changes. So understanding your menstrual cycle is key to knowing the most fertile days in your cycle. Tracking your cycle is understanding what day 1 is and what the start of your period is. So day 1 is actually the start of your flow, of your first full bleed. Not spotting, but the first full day of bleed. That's day 1. We're gonna count your cycle until the next day 1. Obviously that day 1 is the start of the next cycle, so the day before is the end of the previous cycle. So most women have a menstrual cycle from day 1 to the next day 1 of 28 to 30 days. And when you ovulate, you're gonna ovulate somewhere in the middle of that cycle, usually somewhere between day 13, 14, and 15. And so we wanna track your cycle to understand what it's doing. When's day 1? How long do you bleed for? And what is the quality of your menstrual bleed? Is it heavy? Is it light? Do you change your tampon or pad every 4 hours or every hour? Is the color of your bleed dark red, bright red, pink, brown, black? Does it have clots? Does it not have clots? Do you have PMS? Do you have pain and cramping with your bleed? These are all important details that we need to know. That's what we're talking about in the beginning of the cycle. Then as you get to ovulation in the middle of your cycle, again, cycles, hopefully cycle days 13, 14, or 15, you're looking for your cervical mucus to shift and change. If you are tracking your basal temperature, which is, by the way, an awesome way to track your cycles and keep track of things. It's tracking your basal temperature with a thermometer, and I have plenty of videos on this topic, so you can check those out. If you are tracking your cycle with the basal temperature, you're going to see that when you get to ovulation, there's going to be a little dip, and then there's going to be a rise. Sometimes that rise is more dramatic, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes that dip is more dramatic, and sometimes it's not. And your cervical mucus will become more like egg white cervical mucus. So if you cracked an egg open in a bowl and you took out the yolk and you're just left with the white, it's clear, stretchy, and sticky. And in some varying degree, that's what you're looking for around ovulation. And then that should fade and go away as we are moving into your luteal phase and as you're getting closer to another menstrual cycle. Another way to understand or track your cycles is to use an ovulation predictor kit, or OPK. There's lots of fancy ones out there, lots of apps and so forth. What it's actually tracking, which, regardless of which one you're using, some track more than others, is in the end it's tracking LH, luteinizing hormone. It wants to see that that rises in the middle of your cycle so that you know when you're ovulating and when your fertile window is, so you can try and have intercourse during that time and time it properly. It's tracking your LH rise because that LH is telling your ovary to release the egg out of the follicle. Okay, that's what those kits track. Some of them track more, like they might track estrogen or progesterone or FSH, but in general, if we're trying to track ovulation, that's what we're looking for. Step 2 is preparation, preparing your body to be ready to get pregnant. That is step number 2. And there's multiple things that we're gonna need to do in step 2 to prepare our body. Number 1 is have a healthy diet. Preparation is crucial, and all of the things that I'm going to be talking about right now are essential, but diet is probably the most important piece. If you want more information on a way to jumpstart your diet, on a way to kind of press the reset button and move forward with a healthy, clean diet, then I did release a video recently about detoxing and kind of resetting your body. I highly recommend that you watch that video as well. I'm going to leave that link in the description below. But some key things is we want to eat good quality food. We want to get away from processed foods. We want to make sure that we're not having processed sugar. We want to listen to our body. If there are certain foods that we know impact us negatively, then we want to make sure that we avoid those. We want to also avoid sugar, sodas, alcohol, and we want to increase our green leafy vegetables, lots of good healthy berries, nuts and seeds. These are all important. And as I mentioned, you might want to consider doing a detox or a simple detox to get started. And I did just recently put out a video that talks about that. I do want to share a little testimonial from someone. We'll pop that onto the screen right now. It says, "Dear Hope members and Marc, I want to share a very important win." We ask all of our members to share wins. "I haven't had an IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, flare-up in a very long time now. When I joined the Hope program, I used to get them frequently. I guess the microbiome balancing and probiotics helped after all." She cleaned up her diet, and this was the result. The other thing that we need to look at is supplements. I know all of you always want a good supplement or good supplements to take to improve your fertility and jumpstart things. There are some basic things that we all need to consider when we're trying to get pregnant. Folate is an essential nutrient that we all need to have and can be found in a prenatal. And those of you who are taking a prenatal, I highly recommend that you look to make sure there's folate in it. In addition to that, we all want some good essential fatty acids, omega-3s or fish oils, as many of you refer to them. Vitamin D is another key nutrient that we need, and CoQ10 can be beneficial. For those of you who want a little bit more support and are looking for more egg quality support or sperm quality support specifically, then I do have a couple products that I recommend. It's from a company that I helped create called Rejuva. If you want more information on these three amazing products to help improve egg quality and sperm quality, I'm going to leave that link in the description below, but you can also go to getrejuva.com. The next two pieces of the preparation phase, so we're still on phase 2, talking about preparing our body. The other two pieces are exercise and sleep. Exercise is so important and does not have to be anything crazy. I want all of you to be moving your body at least 4 times a week for at least 30 to 60 minutes a day. That's right. It could be a simple, good, brisk walk. It could be a bike ride. It could be a swim. If you want to get into the gym and do a little bit more, that's also fine. But I want you moving and exercising regularly. I also don't want you to overdo it, right? So we need to find balance. If you want to do some good yoga, that's also fine. Go for a good hike. Whatever makes you happy when it comes to exercise, but I just want you doing it regularly, okay? And the other thing is sleep. Sleep is so important. So many of you compromise your sleep and don't get enough of it that I always reiterate this. If you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep in a night, you are not getting enough sleep and you need to sleep more, okay? Don't compromise anything else. Don't wake up early to exercise just because I said you need to exercise and not get enough sleep. The rule number 1 that I have for everybody is 7+ hours, hopefully 8 hours of sleep, of good quality sleep every night. So make sure you establish a good bedtime routine. I've got another testimonial to share with all of you that I think kind of reflects this. So sharing a small fertility win. For the first time since my miscarriage in October, my cycle has become within a normal time window of 30 days. Before my miscarriage, my period arrived on day 26 to 28 for decades. After my D&C, it was at day 38 to 39, sometimes 20 and 61. I started making serious changes in my diet, exercise, meditation, stress management, deleted Instagram, awesome, and never been so happy about getting my period on day 30. Hoping this is the start of a new chapter. This just shows you what can happen when you make the proper foundational changes, and in this case, make the preparation changes, right? That's step number 2, preparing your body properly. And you can get magical, amazing results just by doing these things. Step 3, lifestyle. We have to improve our lifestyle. Some of you might say, well, changing my diet and my sleep and exercise, it's part of lifestyle. It is, but I put that under the preparation phase. This is kind of like a step up from that, okay? If you are a smoker, if you drink a lot of alcohol, drink a lot of caffeine, this is the time to reduce all of those things. If you smoke, let's get rid of it. If you drink alcohol, and I know what many of you actually say is, no, I don't drink during the week. I'm a social drinker. I just drink on the weekends. But what I typically hear from all of you is when I ask that question of, well, how much do you drink on the weekends? Well, I have 3 or 4 drinks on Friday and 3 or 4 drinks, maybe sometimes more on Saturday when I'm out with my friends. That's called binge drinking. Yeah, that's actually a problem. So we want to avoid that, and that's not good. So if you're going to have a drink, have a glass of wine or have a cocktail once or twice a week, and that's about it. So I want to make sure that you reduce that and make sure that the quality of the alcohol you're drinking is good. Okay, so that's also really important. And then when it comes to caffeine, many of you, because you're not getting enough sleep, which we talked about in the last stage, need a lot of caffeine to keep going through the day. An 8-ounce cup of organic coffee or some green tea or some matcha is what we're looking for. Outside of that, you shouldn't be having more caffeine in your day. It's not going to be beneficial long-term to your adrenal glands. It's not going to benefit your fertility and your hormones in the long run as well. So we want to reduce all those things to a normal level. And then the last part of the lifestyle changes that we want to make is reducing or managing your stress. Stress is never going to go away. The most important thing is, how do you handle it? How do you manage it? I want all of you to create good routines, good habits in your day, every day, to manage that stress. Stress is going to come every day. How are you going to manage it? All I ask is that you take 5 minutes a day, 2 to 3 times a day, to ground yourself and breathe deep. That might mean going outside for a walk to breathe deep. It might just mean sitting here and taking some nice, long, deep breaths. It changes your voice, it changes your mood, it changes your posture, it changes how you relate to the world and yourself. Find ways to de-stress. And all I ask as a tool that you can use is that you work on deep breathing, slow deep breathing, 2 to 3 times a day for 5 minutes each time. That will work magic. Step 4, it's not all about you. There's a partner involved. And so many times he's not doing enough and he's not doing his part. 50% of all fertility issues are male factor, and that means we need to make sure that he's doing his part. So your husband or your partner, first and foremost, needs to have a semen analysis and needs to get checked. If that hasn't happened, that needs to happen moving forward. And then he needs to take his health seriously. All the same things that I've talked to you about step 1 through 3, he needs to be doing. So the diet changes, the lifestyle changes, the sleeping habits, the stress management, the exercise, these are not just for you, these are for him as well, okay? And if he won't listen to you, just play this video for him so he can listen to me. These are all important. Reducing alcohol, quitting smoking, eating well, getting good sleep, exercising properly. These are all important things that will improve his health and his fertility as well. But the last and most important thing for him that is a little bit different is we want to make sure that the testes don't get overheated, that they don't get too hot. So we want to make sure they stay cool, that you're not sitting in saunas or hot tubs for an extended period of time, and that area is staying cool as possible. Also, if you're doing exercise and they get too hot, then it's also okay to cool them down. Use a little ice pack. I know that might sound weird, but they work. These simple things, if done regularly and consistently for a period of time, will make a big impact on male fertility and sperm quality. Step 5, get support. We all need support in life. Fertility is no different. We all need help getting through difficult times, and this is no different. So surround yourself with people who understand what you're going through, who can relate to you, and who are there to support you, and for you to support them. It feels good to support somebody. So join a community, whether that's on Facebook or in person, or with just some close friends who have gone through something similar or are going through something similar. Work with them together to join a community where you can be supportive of one another. That's one of the most important things that I needed to create when I created the Hope Program. And it is not just about me supporting my members, it's about the community supporting each other. They are there to lift you up when you need to be lifted up, and they are there to celebrate your wins when there are wins to be celebrated. And that is really important. And seek out guidance and support from professionals who can help you. I'm a fertility coach here to support you, and getting a mentor, a teacher, a guide to help you along the way is just going to make your process a lot easier and make your journey less stressful. So I want to share a couple of testimonials. We'll put them up on the screen. This one says, Marc, I've sent you my lab test results from today, the estrogen level rising. This is actually not a testimonial. I'm going to show you how we support and how the community supports. So I've sent you my lab test results from today. The estrogen levels rising seem a bit concerning for me. Please, could you take a look at the hormone levels and answer my question? Which I did. Thank you so much as always for all that you do. I trust you more than my clinic, and I feel you care more than my clinic as well. So that's the sort of support that I gave her. But more importantly, you could see that one of the other members in the program responded back. I feel the same, she says. So much more trust and care here than at my clinic. Best wishes on your path to parenthood. And this is just a fraction of what happens within the group. Here's another one that we're going to put up here for all of you to read. Hi, Dr. Sklar. Hope all is well. I just wanted to let you know that thank God I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy on Wednesday. I'm so grateful for this wonderful gift. I want to thank you and your team for all your support, invaluable advice, and guidance. I hope I can be in touch again in the future for additional support should we plan to get pregnant again. With kind regards. This is what having a community around you is all about. They're there to celebrate your wins, they're there to lift you up, and they're there to support you along the way. And step number 5 is something that I believe all of you need to make the process easier. Now, if you're ready for that coaching and you're ready for a personalized fertility coaching for you, then head on over to marksklar.com/discovery call to speak to a real person on my team so we can identify if having me as your fertility coach is the right next step for you on your journey. I'm also going to leave you with this other video on the 9 things that you need to know when you're trying to conceive. And until the next video, stay fertile.